when I was in those groups, about the third week, I could hear the guy say, I'm Joe Blow with Joe Blow's Pest Control. And everybody yelled out, we kill bugs dead. And they all laughed at 7 in the morning. I'm going, that's not funny. It's 7 in the morning. Okay. And no one's listening.
Right.
And if they're listening, they're mimicking the guy. They're saying it for him or her. And so why do they do it? They do it for the guest.
Right.
Well, guess what? We could cure cancer if we have 10 or 11 to 15,000 groups around the world doing this every week for 25 minutes. We could put man on Mars. We wouldn't even need Elon Musk. I mean, it's a waste of time. We do videos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's 30 seconds for you to do your video. Now it lives on infamy. However many members come, they're all going to see it. Guess what we get to do with that time?
Mm-hmm.
Network.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Expert in You podcast, the show where we have real conversations with established founders, firm owners, and B2B experts selling their expertise as services. We talk about what's happening now inside experienced businesses where positioning, influence, and growth directly affect opportunities and contracts. I'm Ann Carden. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of Expert in You podcast. I'm your host, Ann Carden. And I have a really, really great guest for you today. His name is Scott Talley, and he is the founder of Network in Action, NIA for short. And it is a global franchise for networking. And we are going to dive into what makes it different and all around networking and growing your business. But Scott, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Ann. I feel super privileged. I know how big a network you have. So I am flattered that you would make time for me on your podcast. So thank you.
Well, I interview experts and you are. So I'm super happy to have you here, Scott. So you're doing some really cool things with a networking group. And most people that are out there in business have been in networking groups in some form or another through their business journey. But you're doing some very different things. And that was one of the things that really interested me to have you on. You're not a traditional networking group as a lot of people would think about it. So we're going to talk about that. But before we do, I would love to know your story and what made you start the Network in Action that you have today.
I get asked that frequently, and it's not so sexy. I always say I'm not Elon Musk. I don't look out in the world and figure out how to put a networking group on Mars. But I think it's a pretty cute story. My children were finally old enough to go to school, and my wife is 19 years younger than me. And I said, honey, if something happens to me, you got to be able to make a living. So she decided to become a realtor. So she got a real estate license. My next part was I owned a marketing company. I said, I can put your little pearls on in your black and white outfit, and we can take all the pictures and market the heck out of you. It won't work. You have to go network. And I followed that up over the next few weeks. Like, did you find a networking group? And she called the biggest one on the planet and said, how do I get started? Because you can't find a realtor spot in any networking group. So she was going to volunteer for free to help that private equity firm build a bigger private equity firm. And I kept being really critical of the way networking was offered. I had always thought that it was a bit of a sham. And I know there's great people in lots of different models, but just the way it was being offered, I never enjoyed it, the redundancy and the time requirement. And so, like every great wife, after me continuing to encourage her to find a networking group and criticizing all the ones that were out there, she said, you think you know so damn much? Why don't you start?
I was going to say, smarty pants. Why don't you just do something about it, right?
That was the exact language. So that was 11 years ago. And by the grace of God, we have about 360 groups around the world. We have 8 or 9 countries and about to start in Dubai. And it's just been a fantastic run. We just had our biggest 24 hours ever. We added 58 new members in the last day. So it's growing like crazy. We're having a lot of fun. And to be honest, Ann, really, it's just because we turn the whole industry upside down. We don't do anything anyone's ever experienced in networking.
Well, I would agree with that. And it's one of the things that, again, really drew me to your group and what you're doing. You have really done something so different. So I love that. Congratulations on all of your success. That's amazing. And one of the things that Scott has done really well, and I've been taught, for many years, Scott, I was out there networking, and I would always try to get the business owners to bring their business networking efforts online, like merge the two. When you do a hybrid networking system where you're online and you're offline and you merge those two worlds, it multiplies everything that you're doing, your effort. It multiplies your referrals. It multiplies your network. It's just so much faster, and you can build faster relationships. You can build that know, like, and trust so much faster. But it was like so often I felt like I was speaking a different language that people didn't understand. And so one of the things that I love is you have found a great way to do that. You have leveraged online platforms to merge those two worlds. So you still have the offline things that are going on, and you have the online things that are going on. And those two worlds, now you have really a hybrid model. And I absolutely love that. It's so current. It's cutting edge. I don't know why people haven't been doing this before. And I just think it's amazing. So I'm going to let you talk a little bit about your system, and then I'll talk about some actual networking strategies and things that can help people.
So if you think about it, networking's been around for about 40 to 45 years. And 45 years ago, we didn't have cell phones. And so, it's amazing to me that no one's invested in technology in this space.
I know.
So that's what we decided to do. And sorry by accident, I'm pretty good at email, Ann. To think that I own a software company is sort of funny to me because I'm about all I could do is email. But I have a fantastic team that writes software. And we started investing from day one. I mean, we didn't open our doors to offer networking for about 10 months until we had some software. The theory being that 99% of the people have their phone with them 99% of the time.
Right.
So why not build a robust platform that's easy to use? We jokingly say if Facebook and LinkedIn got married, it would be Network Connections mobile app. And people use the online portal as much as they do the in-person meetings. And exactly what you said happened. By us having a robust online presence and ability to connect people and keep connected, we could reduce the time commitment from a weekly meeting to a once-a-month meeting. Mm-hmm. And everyone told me that wouldn't work. 100% of people said, I said, well, maybe it won't, but we're going to try it. And obviously it does work. And the argument being that if you focus on the right things with the right people and provide the right technology, you can do things more efficiently. That's not my idea. I mean, we all know that, right?
Right.
Now look at what AI is doing. So, the world is forcing us to change. The biggest challenge is when people hear the word networking, they still think of redundant elevator pitches and weekly meetings and having to drag their friends. And so it's got such a negative connotation. That's our biggest challenge, is to get people to say, wait a minute,
right up there with MLMs, right?
Yeah, you get exactly. You gave Airbnb a chance, and you've never been back in a little 400 square foot hotel. Give this a chance.
Yeah.
The other day, Ann, I was in Las Vegas, and there must have been 250 people outside waiting for an Uber, right? And I kept thinking, why don't half of these people just go jump in a cab? Mm-hmm. And the reason is because they have a better experience with Uber. Right. And so that's the same thing we're trying to do with Network in Action. Just give people a better experience, a more efficient.
No, I absolutely love it. And then at some point you franchised it. I want to talk a little bit about that process too, because that is a play to expand and to scale, is to franchise. That's one way that you can do it. So I want to dive into the business side of it a little bit. But going back to what you were talking about, one meeting a month, I was in networking for years as I was building businesses. And the thing that was very difficult for me was I didn't live close to the networking groups. And so I had to travel. And so every week it was a half a day out of my schedule just to attend the meeting. And then you still had to do the one-to-ones with people. And when I would ask people, let's just do a Zoom, let's do a one-to-one online, again, it was like I was just speaking a different language. And I think COVID has changed some of that for sure. Yes. Except people still are they're a bit old school sometimes in the way they learn to do things. And the thing that really attracted me to your system was the fact that you are looking for how can we be more efficient? How can we take all of this? Basically, you don't want to be creating another job for yourself just because you're trying to make connections and get to know people and get referrals, right?
Yeah, there's so much wrong with that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you think about what we're told is that it takes 2 years to build know, like, and trust,
Yes.
be able to refer. And I'm like, really? No. Maybe the way you do it, it does. But we have people who come to one meeting. Like, Ann, you might come to my first meeting in Houston. And because I put my stamp of approval on you, because the way I introduce you, because everyone in the group knows you've had a background check and you've been vetted and you've been given a business assessment and you were really curated to be in this group, you've earned their trust. Isn't that crazy? So we circumvent that whole 2-year process. Now watch this. In that other model, what happens is people are leaving. I mean, only 50% are staying the first year. So all of a sudden you're starting over. So of course it takes 2 years. If I'm wasting 30 minutes every meeting with an elevator pitch and I'm wasting 30 minutes standing up and saying if I pass the referral and the rest of the meeting is to impress the guest, where's the networking?
Right.
So one of our fundamental beliefs is if Ann's a member of Network in Action, she is a client. She does not work for us. She does not have to recruit her friends. She doesn't have to follow a bunch of rules. She just show up and be beautiful Ann. And it leaves space for people to be vulnerable, to connect, and it happens so much faster, even though we're only meeting once a month.
I love that. You do some other really innovative things when you talked about your software. For example, one of the things you have people do is set up a profile inside of your system, and they actually record a video. So their USP is in there, basically their elevator pitch, whatever it is they want people to see is inside that system on the profile. You get to set that up. And the way I know this is Scott has invited me to be part of the system. So I'm getting now to check all of that out, but I think it's just amazing. But even when you all were telling me about it, I just knew it was different. I've been out there a long time in the business world and I haven't seen anything like this. And so I knew it was very different, but you set up your profile and then you also can set up a video of basically your pitch or
your why, really, your why.
Okay.
And there's a reason we do that. In a traditional networking group, if I pass a referral, even if it's electronic, and Ann is the member, Ann's going to get the introduction to the prospect. But under our model, we created some extra technology. Isn't it cool that when I pass Ann a referral, and let's say it's my cousin gets a text, hey, you've been introduced to Ann. Click here to learn more. And when they click, they get to see your video of you talking about why you love what you do, how long you've been in business, and how to reach you. So when you call them, there's already been this little warm introduction.
Yeah.
And it leads to more closed business. And it's
and we
simple.
would take seven now touches before people actually do business. So this is a way to speed all of that along.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just being creative, my team knows I come in on Monday morning, I say, I have an idea, and I see them go, God, not another one. But they're so great at carrying it out. I'm an idea guy. I can't do anything in terms of making it happen. But I'll use an other example. In most networking groups, there's about 25 or 30 minutes where everyone's instructed to stand up and either say what referral they've passed or say something nice about the organization. That's to impress the guest. Now, we love guests, but again, we're going to focus on Ann, the client. So what we say is if you join our group, Ann, it's your job to go watch 30 videos of all the members so you know how to refer them. It's not their job to do an elevator pitch to bring you up to speed. And at the end of the meeting, we don't stand up because we have a scoreboard. So we spent a big investment to gamify the website. If you want to see who's active and who's not, just go look at the scoreboard. Well, that incentivizes people to participate more, creates more engagement, again, using technology. So none of this is something somebody else couldn't have figured out. I think we just decided early on to invest in technology. And most networking groups are either one model or that same model with less rules, but still no technology and no adaptation and nothing different. They're still meeting weekly. They're still doing elevator pitches. They're still standing up and saying if they're past referrals. So that's why I say we just, turn the industry upside down.
And the interesting thing is you don't really have rules. Like if you don't show up to the meeting, that's up to you. But if you only have one a month, the likelihood of people wanting to make that meeting is going to be much higher. You don't have to find someone to take your place, like in a lot of the groups. And
Well, you bet. And especially if that meeting has value. So like last month, here we are in February of the year, we've got tax season coming up and we had a new tax bill and many business owners don't know about it. So the whole agenda focused on the new tax code for 2026. We focused on how to get your books prepared, and there was enough meat on the bones. There was enough value in that meeting. We estimate over $2,000 to pay for your dues for the whole year if you take one of those action items and go act on it. So I had a member the other day, he's been a member 11 years. He goes, it's hard to believe I've never seen the same agenda twice. So we might take AI, a couple years ago, we took cryptocurrency. During the COVID, we took how to get the PPP loan or how to get the EIDL loan. So whatever's timely, we're going to address. And that keeps busy business owners, in front of the game. And that's what they need to do because it's, as you know, it's a lot more complicated today than when you and I were in our first one business. So we just, the biggest yellow page ad we could and waiting for the.
Right. Right. I love that. So you're also bringing educational pieces to the table too with the group. I know I'm speaking to your group in June. And so I love that too, because you're actually bringing in speakers and you're offering that piece. Are all of those online? All of the speaking online?
That's a great question. So think about this. When you go to your in-person meeting in whatever location you're in with Network in Action, you're a franchise owner who's financially vested in your success, because if you succeed, you're going to renew and they're going to profit. So great motivation. They're leading this group. They're not managing it. They're not just following a bunch of rules that someone's told them what to do. So the leadership puts the right people together. They lead the agenda, and then Ann gets a couple of emails to continue to get you to follow up on your action items. And then 2 weeks later, we have a speaker who puts a bow on it. So next, our members have seen their agenda the second week of the month. Next week on the fourth Wednesday, we'll have a speaker. And so later in the year, Ann's going to speak, and we'll build an agenda around the topic that she's an expert with, and the members will get value all over the.
Well, see, that's cool. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. It's like so what happened, it's a pretty cool story. And I came home about month 15, and I think my wife saw my look on my face from a meeting, and she goes, what's wrong? Was nobody there? And I go, no. I said, it's like I have a wine club. They all love each other. Everyone had renewed, 100% renewal. They all knew each other. They were referring each other. And I said, I can't franchise a wine club. So that's when I started thinking, let's do something educational every single month. And so for the last 10 years, we've done something educational, and we poll the members and say, what 12 topics would you like us to cover in 2026? So those are already set. And that makes people want to come. I had a catering guy call me last week. What's the agenda? He goes, I've got a conflict, but I don't want to miss. And I told him what it was. He goes, I got to move my meeting. I got to be at this meeting, because he didn't know about the new tax code.
That's great. What size businesses typically are members of your organization?
So we certainly have the people from Insperity and ADP and Paychecks, and there's people that need to be in a networking organization, need to build a big network. But the other big differentiator, I want you to think about this. If I come to Ann, as Brent did, and he said, hey, Ann, I want you to be a part of my group. It's once a month commitment. We get Ann. But under the other model, if I got to go weekly and Ann goes, I'm beyond that, I will send my assistant. I will send my salesperson. I will send my marketing person.
Right.
So a big differentiator with our franchise owners is they look for owners and decision makers. Nothing wrong with salespeople. I was one. I still am. Love sales. But if I'm a salesperson, my job is to go back to my boss who paid for my membership and tell him how many leads I got. That's not what I do. That's not what we want to do. So it's not so much the size of the business as the hierarchy of the ownership that we're looking for. We're looking for owners and decision makers where we can get them.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And the other thing too, the way I think you've structured even the cost, it's not so high that people can't join or wouldn't want to, but it's also not so low that it kind of is a nice little filter, in my opinion, too.
Ann, what I say about that, if a person questions the price, they're probably not the right candidate, only because they're not in a place where they really want to or grow their business. But
right.
I mean, $2,200 and saving a person 80 hours a year, I would say we're the low-cost provider, even though we're finding all this time.
Absolutely. One of the other things that was really interesting to me about your network as well is you guys actually, when you pass referrals, you share referral fees. And I haven't figured out, I don't know yet the ins and outs of that, but people are rewarded with referral fees. And I will say, being part of a networking group for years, that was not very welcomed. And people still tried to do it, but it was not welcomed. And
so thank you. I'm so excited. So quick history of this. We're cooking for 10 years. We're sort of traditional. We're passing referrals, and then we hope we get one later, right? So givers get referrals. And that's a cool model. It's very ministerial. It feels good. It's awesome. But here's some statistics to think about. 23 to 24 million businesses in America, small and medium-sized businesses. Maybe 150,000 in a traditional networking group. What's wrong with that?
Right.
So we were all fighting over that 1% of the people that are networking. So I started interviewing people. And as ministerial as I am and you are and how we like to help people, more people like money.
Yeah.
More people like money.
Everybody's there to grow their business, right? So it actually can become another revenue stream for you, which why wouldn't people want that?
So again, we did what we always do. We said, okay, let's see if we can build some software, because I didn't want to come to the meeting and go, hey, Ann, you owe me $100 for the next 12 months because you got this referral and this client spending, $1,200 a month with you for 12 months. Nah, that would be no fun. So we wrote some software. Every member enters their Stripe or PayPal account. Super simple. Takes about 7 or 8 minutes. A deal closes for the plumber, $10,000 plumbing job. He or she is sharing 10%. $1,000 leaves their PayPal or their Stripe account, goes into the person's account who referred them. But here's what I'm so excited about, Ann. Since I spoke with you, we got the second part of our software hooked up, and that's where charities can participate.
Oh.
I want you to think about some charity you're passionate about. Let's say it's a battered women's shelter or veterans. Mm-hmm. They come in, they add their Stripe account, and I say, I care about the battered women's shelter. I want to help them. So I say, I'm going to share 50% of my commission with them. I'm the consumer. Now, instead of having 24 referral partners in a referral group, right, which is the history has been, maybe in Kansas City, Brent has 2,500 or 3,000 or 5,000 people who've downloaded an app, passionate about a charity, pass a referral, and the charity gets paid and the consumer gets paid. So think of it like Venmo for referrals.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
So it's a cross between Angie's List, traditional networking, and a chamber of commerce with a nonprofit piece tied in. So we look for nonprofits. If you know of anyone that's a executive director of a nonprofit, it's free for them to participate, and they get money without having to go back and ask their donors repeatedly. So it's really cool. We're excited about it. In the first 3 weeks, we've signed up about 14 charities around the country.
Hi, friend. I have an exciting announcement. I hope you're enjoying this episode of Expert in You podcast, but I have to ask you, have you checked out the latest issue of Expert in You magazine yet? It's jam-packed with rich content, powerful strategies, inspiring stories, and so much more to help you elevate your business and personal growth. Don't miss out. Go grab your digital copy now and join our community of experts making a difference every day. Go to expertinyoumagazine.com and check out your digital copy today. Transform your expertise into success with Expert in You magazine. It's not just a publication, it is a movement.
That's amazing. I love that. It's so innovative. The way you're setting things up and you keep making it better and keep making the system better. How many members did you say you have globally now?
So we just went over the 3,000 mark in terms of membership. I think that makes us the second largest networking group in the country.
So how do you keep it small? Let's talk about that, because 3,000, I have 25,000 in my network on LinkedIn, and I don't know most of them. And how do you keep it right? So how do you keep it small? How do you?
Oh, I love that. And that's an easy answer. because our franchise owners don't get to operate our franchise unless they are just super passionate about helping their local community, period. So, Saturday morning, I saw someone on Facebook said, I'm looking for XYZ. In this case, it was a handyman. I took a second and I forwarded to my handyman. If I'm a volunteer leading a group, I may or may not do that on Saturday morning, but I want to continue to help my handyman. He's been a member for 6 years. I want him to be a member for another 6 years. So I'm invested in his or her success. And we're very picky about who we franchise with. We have probably 3 to 5 requests a week, and we probably reward 2 to 4 a month. So yeah, it all has to do with being local. I mean, you got to have a person that's familiar with the community, is passionate about helping their business community, and they get to do it. It's very ministerial, the franchise.
Now, most groups have about how many people in them?
So we have it as an operation. I mean, like part of our request when they buy the franchise is 24 members. But most of our groups are leaning towards 30 members. But again, that's numbers going through the roof for those of the operating our new model, the NIX model, because it's not the number of members in the group, it's the number of the referral partners in the community. So our goal is to hit 75,000 people to download our app. Today, we're in 23 markets with NIX. That's growing monthly. We'll add 2 more, one in Oklahoma City and one in Salt Lake. So we'll be at 25 markets. And if each of those 25 markets have 3,000 people that download the app, we're at 75,000 referral partners. Guess what? That makes us the largest referral organization in the country in a year.
I love this. Again, it's just so innovative. It's very cutting edge to traditional networking. And I'm always looking for those out of the box thinkers and people that are doing bigger things. So let's talk about just what makes great networking and how you see that even in the current market today.
Yeah. So maybe that hasn't changed so much over the last 5 years, the difference between, last 45 years. My definition is a little different. And this sounds crazy, but my definition of networking is if I go to bed tonight and I lay my head on my pillow and I go, oh my gosh, Ann has done so much to help me. I got to figure out a way to help her. That's networking. Where a lot of people think collecting cards is networking, or going to a lot of events is networking, or being at bigger events, or going in a line and having somebody come past me every minute and a half. Speed networking has gotten so popular. But truly, the most simple way to look at it is if I'm thinking about, I got to reciprocate, I've got to help Ann because she helped my family so much. That's sort of my little quick definition of networking. So how do I do that? When I show up somewhere, I try to figure out first how I can help you. I will get my chance. That's the biggest mistake people make, right? They show up at an event, they start dumping because, I'm only going to get a minute of Ann's attention. I need Ann. I know she has a huge network. And I start dumping on Ann, and Ann's like, I'm not even listening. I'm thinking about what I'm cooking for dinner. I'm thinking about the lake. I'm out of here. It's a turnoff. I tell this story, Ann. I was single for way too long. But one time I was at a place, there were 2 beautiful women sitting having a drink, and I got to talking to them. And because I was single so long, I was probably pretty good at it. And I remember just asking a million questions, Ann. And I got up to go to the restroom. And as I turned, I heard the one girl say, "Oh my God, he's so sweet." And I thought I could be a serial killer for all you know.
Yeah.
But I had asked her so many questions about herself that
An interest. That's right.
An interest. There you go. So it's not complicated, but it's about focusing on the other person.
Yeah.
Being patient.
That is just so true. The other thing too that I really want to talk about, and we hit on it a little bit, is the efficiency of it. When we talked about going to traditional networking groups and everybody stands up and they give their elevator pitch, I never saw much networking going on at those types of networking events. No, that you didn't really, everything had to be done outside of those events. So for me, that's where it was very frustrating, because not only was I driving to go to an event, and don't get me wrong, I made a lot of good friends, and I'm not bashing.
The people are great.
Yeah.
People are great.
Networking. But yeah, it's like I would drive, it was a half a day out of my schedule to drive there, to do the meeting, to drive back. And then I still had to really do all of the work outside of the meeting because there was no networking that was really going on with the meeting and during the meeting. And so now I had to set all of those one-to-ones up and everything to try to build relationships. And if you wanted to meet people, this is the other thing I really want to hit on with your system. If you want to meet other people from within the networking group, now they were all online in some capacity.
Sure.
But not in the same way. You didn't have them in a hub where they could talk to each other. It was like they were like mini websites that were set up. Nothing wrong with that. But it was very difficult to meet people outside of a group if you didn't go visit a group. And the way you have set it up, from what I can tell, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't been in there long enough yet, but it looks like it's almost like a community.
That's exactly right. Doesn't everyone say your network is your net worth? Isn't that what we're all told? Why would we make that easy?
Yes.
Yeah, instead of trying to block it because it doesn't.
Kind of like you've taken the Facebook group concept and you've brought it into your networking group. Yeah.
You're exactly right. This was what some of my consternation was with networking before we started. It's just like, to me, there were so many things that didn't make sense. Like you mentioned the elevator pitch. When I was in those groups, about the third week, I could hear the guy say, "I'm Joe Blow with Joe Blow's Pest Control." And everybody yelled out, "We kill bugs dead." And they all laughed at 7 a.m. I'm going, that's not funny. It's 7 a.m. Okay. And no one's listening.
Right.
And if they're listening, they're mimicking the guy. They're saying it for him or her. Mm-hmm. And so why do they do it? They do it for the guest.
Right.
Well, guess what? We could cure cancer if we have 10 or 11, 15,000 groups around the world doing this every week for 25 minutes. We could put man on Mars. We wouldn't even need Elon Musk. I mean, it's a waste of time. We do videos.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's 30 seconds for you to do your video. Now it lives on infamy. However many members come, they're all going to see it. Guess what we get to do with that time?
Mm-hmm.
Network.
Yeah. The other thing that was so interesting to me, so I was invited to go to a meeting a week ago, so I could check it out and see what it was all about. And I didn't have business cards. I haven't networked in probably 7 years, maybe, to get out there. When I go out, I speak. That is my form of meeting people, or I go to a conference. And so I told Brent, I said, I have no business cards anymore. So I have nothing, to bring. But it was so great because you guys have done such a great job of really merging the online world. It was not a big deal. I just sat there and connected with everyone on LinkedIn. And because I wasn't in your system or anything yet, but you've got that opportunity where we'll just connect inside the hub, or we can just connect online. People are very used to it because you built your model that way. And so it's really powerful. And who needs all those business cards anyway? Everything's so digital now. They're just, to me, really a waste of money.
Well, if I can, I want to add on that note. So in traditional networking, people join for leads, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they join for. In Network in Action, we have people join for 4 different reasons. So let's stick with the first one. You mentioned technology. Every single member actually gets an electronic V card. So on your app, the next time you're at a meeting, you just go over and click V card, share it, email or text. It's got your 1-minute video. You talk about why you love your company.
See?
So that's free. That's free. Then you get a free CRM system. That's free. Then you get a software that helps you get unlimited 5-star reviews simply by touching on the app. So yesterday I had a member power wash my driveway. I immediately said when she finished, "It looks beautiful. Can you send me a request for a review?" I gave her a 5-star review on Google. It took her 5 seconds. It took me 30 seconds. Those are assets that help people run a business easier, and they're included in the price. Then we have the guaranteed return on investment. So we're still going to pass referrals. That's the second reason. The third reason people join is for the community. So if a client of yours needs a CPA and you're in Brent's group, hey, I've got a great CPA. We can serve our clients a higher customer service. It will stay with you longer. And then the fourth reason is the education. Imagine every month I'm on a call with a speaker of your quality for 12 months. And 12 additional times, today, in fact, we have what we call sales mastery. So we have sales training for not only Ann, but Ann's employees. So if you're an HVAC company with 10 people out selling your air conditioning services, you get those people on or you listen to the recording. All this is included in the membership. So there's 4 reasons people join, and that's why our retention is so high. And by having high retention, you're not constantly churning people you're networking with.
Yeah, so good. Well, I just love everything you're doing, Scott.
I'm going to call you every morning.
Yeah, I don't know why other people haven't thought of this or are not doing this. And I'm invited to so many different networking things. And I'm like, I don't network anymore. I don't do that anymore. And I do things online. I do network online, but it's so interesting because none of them you bring what you do to their networking group or whatever. And that was the thing that really stood out to me. And I was like,
well, you're so kind. You're going to add so much value to that group too. And intuitively, that's going to give you a lot of joy and you'll get the business out of it. We don't shy away from ROI. We're not like trying to say we're going to get less referrals. But you think about it. Why does the Marine Corps send people to Camp Lejeune? Because they go through the trenches together, right? And they leave there close. That's the same thing that happens at our very first meeting. If you're sitting at a little table with 3 or 4 other businesses and you are working on some project and people are being vulnerable about where their strengths and weaknesses are, when it comes time to refer Ann, it's going to be so natural. I don't have to check you to see if you're passing a referral every week or any other nonsense. It turns 22.5 million people off.
Yeah, I agree. Because again, really what you're doing is building the networking's business. And I even know people that would get into running the groups thinking that would help them build their business, but their business would actually go downhill because they were expected to do so much running the group that it just was so difficult for them.
The average self-run networking group lasts less than 18 months. Because of what you just said. They think they're going to get in and grow their business, and they get in and it becomes another job. It's not paying, it's profitable.
Yes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
So you actually sell the franchises. So let's look at this from a different standpoint. Maybe you're looking for a way to start a networking group and start building, your network and being a leader of a group and building another revenue stream. So you actually sell franchises that you can become a franchise owner of your own group, and you can have multiple groups, I assume, as well. Yeah. You want to talk about that?
Our typical offer is a person will pick up a franchise package and they'll get territories for them specific to them. And they'll choose which one of these types of groups they want to run, where they want to run a group of nothing but tradespeople. So we have a group called Trades Together. We have an exciting one. We're about to have a person start a women's trades group. So it's going to be women only that owns roof, plumbing, electrician. So that's cool. We have people that run alumni groups, faith-based groups, veteran groups. Networking does not have to be one size fits all. So, we have all these different models, but at the end of the day, a person gets 3 groups to build in a protected territory. We show them how to build them, and they make a profit off of each membership. And then we provide them all the resources ongoing to run it effectively and efficiently and quickly. So I would say 95% of our franchise owners fall into 2 categories: either own another business and they're going to grow that business by getting paid for networking, or they're trying to segue out of a career job and they want to have their own company. And we're able to help both.
So good. Well, we have really covered a lot here, Scott, and we're going to put all of your information in the show notes where people can connect with you. You can connect with Scott on LinkedIn as well. I know he's on LinkedIn a lot. And reach out to him. But what would be some final thoughts that maybe we didn't cover? And I want to make sure we cover everything for you.
The world's full of introverts, and introverts typically stay away from networking. And I would just encourage you to try a network and action group, because you will feel completely different and you won't be put on the spot to be, you don't have to be an extrovert to be successful with our way we network. And the second thing I would say is, I believe in my heart that if a person loves to build a community, there's not one person in America that should be broke, because we have many people making well over 6 figures doing something they love. And I would love to help people change their lives if they're tired of the grind or something else. People get put out to pasture at 60, 65. I would love to have a 65-year-old with a ton of business experience running our groups. We just had a 72-year-old franchise owner who's finished their 10-year commitment, and they just re-upped for the next 10 years. So
that's great. Yeah. It gives them a good out. I know a lot of people go into different things like Vistage, they become Vistage chairs and things like that. It is a way for them to kind of stay active and a next chapter for them. So there's so many ways that you can use it. You can build it as a revenue stream. You can, especially if you love the community aspect of it. So this has been so good, Scott. And I'm just so excited to just watch your company continue to grow and be able to help more people and change more lives. And thank you so much for being so open and sharing everything.
Oh, you made this easy. You're the best. I see why you're so successful. I'm looking forward to hearing you speak later in the year. That's going to be a blast.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to that as well. So, all right. Well,
thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. Everyone, we will put all of his information in the show notes. Make sure you connect with him. And look, if you're looking for a networking group that is different, that is cutting edge, that can bring you business, and even for you to get paid for those referrals, there's so many ways to utilize this. And that really just brings that online and offline world together. I highly, highly recommend this. And not only that, they are so kind and so thoughtful in the way that they approach everything that they do. And it's just really like none I have seen, which is why they're probably really mean to this.
Well, that is the ultimate compliment coming from someone with your experience in networking. So I appreciate those kind words.
Yeah, so great. All right, everyone, make sure you subscribe to the show. Sharing is caring, right? We want to get this podcast out there into the world, and I want more people to hear about Scott and his group. And there are groups all over the world, so there's probably one close to you or somewhere around you that you can check into. All right, everyone, see you next time. God bless you. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only. Although I share strategies, ideas, and success stories based on real experiences, results are never guaranteed. Every business is unique, and outcomes depend on individual effort, market conditions, and many other factors. By listening, you agree that I and my guests are not responsible for your results or actions based on the content shared. Thank you for tuning in today. If you're as excited as I am about scaling up your influence, business, and bank account, then I have just the thing for you. But first, make sure you subscribe to the show. Second, make sure you share it with someone you care about, because sharing is caring. And third, head on over to join me in my next free virtual exclusive workshop, where we'll explore proven strategies to boost your business and maximize your potential. Look, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or if you're looking to take your business to the next level, my workshops are designed for you. So head on over to expertinyouworkshop.com to reserve your spot and get ready to transform your expertise into extraordinary success. I'm looking forward to seeing you there and helping you achieve incredible growth. Until next time, make sure you're always seeking the expert in you, and God bless. Have an amazing day.